Hello everyone, and welcome to week 3 of the St. Louis VGC Draft League. We've got a big match today. We have Ben, coach of the Blackpool Buizels, up against Noodle, coach of the Prehistoric Paradoxes. Now, Ben is our number 1 seed with a 2-0 record. Now, granted, one of those was against an automatic forfeit week 1 against a player who had dropped out of the league before a replacement was found for them, but with a very dominant win in game number 2, getting a massive point differential, has catapulted them to the top of the standings with their rain team. They have brought their Mega Greninja, normal Sableye, Aromatisse, Mega Scizzor, Pelipper, and Archaludon, so no Mega Raichu X this week. Noodle, of course, does have the tools to stand against the rain onslaught, though, with the Mega Scovillain, the Male Basculegion, the Alolan Raichu, Vanilluxe, Musharna, and Torterra. So right off the bat, weather wars between the Pelipper and the Vanilluxe come to mind. They have similar speed tiers, not exactly the same. Pelipper is naturally a little bit slower, but something that can readily be remedied if desired by Ben, wanting to opt for a faster route. Of course, the Ice-type Pokemon is threatened by some of Ben's, the steel damage coming out from the Scizzor or the Archaludon. But those could easily be roasted by a good fire move from the Mega Scovillain. I'm more interested, it does look like Noodle is threatening Trick Room modes to deal with the faster Pokemon on Ben's side of the field. I'm looking at that Mega Greninja in particular. It is the fastest Pokemon brought as far as base stats go, but not opting to lead the Musharna. The Greninja and the Scizzor double Mega threat coming out from Ben up against Noodle with the Mega Scovillain and, of course, the Basculegion. Now, the Basculegion looks like it would have a great matchup, but the Mega Greninja could just go for the Mega Evolution, go for a Dark-type attack, and threaten massive damage, if not a KO, into this into the fish here, into the Basculegion. Scizzor, of course, could go for something like a dual wing beat into this grass type, trying to get good damage down into the Scovillain, but that is a big risk due to the ability of the Scovillain, that Spicy Spray causing a burn. And here we see the Mega Evolution, so saying, hey, I can redirect your attacks, I have Rage Powder, you won't be able to one-hit KO me, and I can threaten both of your Pokemon with burns here. Basculegion going for Protect, so we aren't going to see a Rage Powder, but the Scizzor also going for Protect, saying, I want no part of a potential fire move being thrown into me. Dark Pulse is going to go into the Basculegion, turning the Greninja into a pure Dark type, which will allow it to readily survive this Giga Drain from the Scovillain. So a good read on the part of Noodle, getting a bit more out of that first turn, but still, the Basculegion is in a precarious position here. Now, because the Protean has already been activated, there will be no more Water Stab coming out from this Greninja. We saw a Dark Pulse, that implies that this is not a physical variant. It could be mixed with a Gunk Shot in order to help deal with the Scovillain, but apparently not. It's just going to get out of here and go into the Archaludon. Meanwhile, the Scizzor switches out, and you have to imagine, yes, we see the Pelipper coming, so Rain Mode revealed, but a double switch does give priority over to Noodle, who goes for a Rage Powder, trying to protect his fish here, and we see a Wave Crash going straight into the Archaludon slot, And wow, even resisted with the additional rain boost. That's huge damage into the Archaludon. Life Orb, presumably adaptability. Basculegion does not play games. And now, again, depending on how these Pokemon are trained, Basculegion could outspeed both of the Pokemon on Ben's side of the field and threaten to KO them. Now this Scovillain is threatened very much by the potential Hurricane from the Pelipper. Again, as this is game 1, neither trainer knows the speed interactions for the Pokemon currently on the field. We see a Rage Powder coming out from the Scovillain saying, hey, I need my Basculegion. And it is a fast Archaludon, well, I suppose Archaludon is the fastest Pokemon on the field by base speed. You don't usually see it run a lot of speed, but... oh my goodness, what tech from Ben? This is Stalwart. Stalwart Archaludon, not going for Sturdy, which was revealed by the Wave Crash. But not Sturdy either. Stalwart, of course, for those who don't know, is an ability that allows you to ignore redirection, so that Rage Powder was just completely ignored, allowing an Electro Shot to just go off into the Basculegion. A massive ability choice, and allows Ben to get a sizable positioning advantage. Vanilluxe is coming out now, and that does get rid of the rain, turn it to snow. And this is now an interesting position. The Scovillain can redirect at least one attack and hopefully allow Noodle to go for a Blizzard or potentially a Freeze Dry to take out one of Ben's Pokemon, if not quite threatening a double KO on this turn. But Noodle will need to pick up the pace. Scovillain is on its last legs, facing down a still very threatening duo. Here's a Blizzard, so again, we don't know the speed interactions or if this is just a Choice Scarf Vanilluxe, but is able to get the KO on the Archaludon before it can move, and we see a Tailwind coming out from the Pelipper, choosing to sacrifice itself and allow the Scizzor and Mega Greninja in the back go for big damage. This Vanilluxe is locked into Blizzard, presumably. We don't know for a fact it's Choice Scarf, but I wouldn't be surprised to see it. And we'll find out on this turn if it chooses to go for Protect to stall out some Tailwind, or if it just gets hit by a Bullet Punch from the Scizzor. We will see. Of course, the Scizzor's Bullet Punch could be redirected. It wouldn't want to eat a burn into whatever the last Pokemon on Noodle's side of the field is. We'll see if we see a Rage Powder from Scovillain to try to circumvent that. So, yeah, I think this turn is going to be very critical. Do you read into the Rage Powder? Do you try to stall? We see no Protects coming out. There's the Rage Powder. Do we see a Bullet Punch from the Scizzor? And no Bullet Punch from the Scizzor. We just see the Ice Beam coming out from the Mega Greninja. That's very impactful. That does mean it will resist the Blizzard coming out from this Vanilluxe. And yes, that has to be a Choice Scarf Vanilluxe to outspeed a Scizzor under Tailwind. Double resisted, no freezes, a knockoff on this Vanilluxe. With the Snow Defense boost, the Vanilluxe takes it fairly well, but loses its item. And critically, without a Bullet Punch from the Scizzor going into the Vanilla, or going into the Spicy Spray Mega Scovillain, it did not get burned. So both of Ben's Pokemon have taken some damage, but are still threatening good amounts of it. And you have to imagine this Scovillain, this Ice Beam from the Greninja is threatening massive damage into either of Noodle's Pokemon here. Will we see, now this Raichu is threatening a Fake Out in return, which could allow Noodle's Pokemon to survive another day. There's the Protect from the Greninja, wanting to stall at a Fake Out, a double Protect, so honestly, about as good as Noodle could have hoped for on this turn, getting a little bit of burn chip on the Greninja, and burning one of Ben's turns of Tailwind. I believe this upcoming turn will be his last turn. Now, that only matters in the case of allowing Scizzor to outspeed things. The Greninja has such a massive speed advantage, even over this Raichu. 142 base speed against 110. So it would take a lot of investment from the Raichu and essentially no investment from the Greninja to allow the Raichu to have a speed advantage. But we shall see. What are we going to see? It's a Bullet Punch going straight into the Vanilluxe. And with the Snow Defense boost, it survives. That is absolutely critical. But we do see a double up from the Greninja into the Vanilluxe. What does this Raichu go for? It goes for Thunder. There's no rain. It's not perfectly accurate, but 70% of the time, it takes out this Scizzor. And we are in dire straits. Noodle, the Tailwind fading doesn't particularly matter, but one hit from this Raichu into the Greninja will take it out. We see the Dark Pulse, but that's not enough without the Stab boost. Remember, this Greninja is an Ice type, but oh no, the Dark Pulse flinch. Does this Raichu have Protect? Can it go for a double Protect? Otherwise, it is GG for Noodle in this game number 1. That 30% flinch chance being absolutely crucial here. But we shall see. Raichu has Feint! But not enough damage to take out the Mega Greninja. A desperate ploy revealing a move, trying to get an advantage, doing the last little bit of chip, but it's just not quite enough, and Ben is able to take game number 1. Wow, what a close game. What a close game here from these two trainers. Ben is able to clutch it in the end, and a lot of interesting tech revealed for the two of them. Feint and Fake Out and Thunder revealed by the Raichu. Of course, it makes sense with that Alolan Raichu why you wouldn't want to bring Electric Terrain to boost the speed of the Raichu. You have to wonder, okay, how will you adjust? Will you say, hey, Rain seems like it helps my opponent almost more than me in this series? With the huge water damage from the Basculegion and the Thunders from the Raichu, do you leave Pelipper at home? Do you bring the Sableye or the Aromatisse for support options? Do you say, hey, and if you're Noodle, do you say, hey, that speed advantage was really threatening. Do I see if I can squeeze in Musharna to get a Trick Room off? The Greninja is very, very threatening, of course, into that Musharna. But if the Musharna is holding a Chapel Berry or is specially defensively invested enough, it might be able to just survive a Dark Pulse and get a Trick Room off on its own. And that would allow Noodle to have a much greater advantage here in this game number 2. So I do like the Mega Scovillain. I do think it is a Pokemon you do want to bring, even though most of Ben's team are special attackers. It does counter the Scizzor very, very well, as you saw in the previous game. Scizzor not wanting to risk going for bullet punches until it was down. but both trainers have made their selections. We see the same lead from Noodle, Mega Scovillain, and Male Basculegion, but now we see pure rain mode coming out from Ben, the Drizzle and the Electro Shot. Now, absolutely critical. Noodle now has the knowledge that the Archaludon is stalwart. It will not be redirected by Rage Powder. That does allow the Scovillain to go for offensive moves, a Grass-type Giga Drain into the Pelipper, perhaps thinking it can run a Sunny Day to just get rid of the rain. And we do know that clicking Electro Shot this early into game number 2 does have some risk. There is a Torterra that could be lurking in the back, a ground type to deal with an Electro Shot. And are we going to see it? No. We just see the Vanilluxe come out saying, hey, I'm going to change your weather. And now, if Electro Shot was clicked, it's going to be stalled out for one turn while it charges up. Helping Hand into the into the Archaludon, but it's a Draco Meteor, not falling for that, and a Draco Meteor with Helping Hand is just going to instantly take out the Vanilluxe. Yes, you won the Weather War, but you lost one of your Pokemon while doing so, and it's White Herb Archaludon. The surprises keep coming. Yes, there's a Super Fang doing good damage into this Pokemon, but now you don't have the Rain boost on your Basculegion to do giant damage into this Archaludon. So what do you do if you are Noodle? The Basculegion comes back out. Now, very notably, it does have access to a 100 base power ghost move in Last Respects right now. When you have the Basculegion, you're always somewhat okay with a Pokemon or two fainting, because that just makes you stronger in the end game. But we'll see what happens here. Again, Electro Shot is not on the table. It's a 2-turn move, and that means the fish is reasonably okay. But again, a double up from the Archaludon could be incredibly threatening with the Helping Hand Draco Meteor. We saw it took out the Vanilluxe. Basculegion, I like to think, is a little bit bulkier, but we'll see by how much. But instead, Ben saying, I want to switch out. I want to get Rain up as soon as possible, and I want to go for a quad resist into this Grass-type move that could be going into the Pelipper. Will Noodle read this and go for a Flamethrower instead? No, just goes for the Giga Drain, doing a little bit of chip in the Scizzor. And we will see the Basculegion could threaten huge damage with Wave Crash. And that could make Ben less than thrilled about going for a swap back into the Pelipper. But no Helping Hand boost possible this turn. I don't believe Scizzor learns Helping Hand, so that does mean if you are the Archaludon, you might not want to go for Draco Meteor in that slot. No, we do see the Pelipper immediately come back out saying, hey, I'm getting this Electro Shot off. You cannot stop me. There's a Rage Powder. Oh no, we know that won't work on the Archaludon, and it's probably just going to go for an Electro Shot into the Water type here. Just a repeat of game number 1. And assuming that wasn't a roll, which I can't imagine it is, this will be a one-hit KO onto this Basculegion, and it is. Basculegion goes down. I can't imagine that crit mattered. And now it's 2 against 4, and Noodle knows it's over, goes for the forfeit, and Ben goes 2-0 in this series, and taking him to 3-0, cementing his position as the first seed in the blue group. Congratulations to him. Noodle still has 5 games left in the regular season. This is not over for him by a long shot. You saw that he had plenty of tech and good strategies into the Rain team that Ben brought, but Ben had enough tricks of his own to allow him to squeak out the win. Good games to both players, and I will see all of you, dear viewers, in the next one. Goodbye!